right. Welcome back, everyone, to Talk 122. This is our last episode of the year, and I got a young man who I've been trying to get on for a while now, and finally was able to get him on. So for the audience that don't know who you are, can you just tell them your name and your title, and then we'll go from there?
You bet. Thanks for having me, Dr. Yarborough. Scott Bloomquist, Regional Superintendent of Schools for Boone and Winnebago County.
Perfect. So first question, right out the gate, because, I get it sometimes with my role, and sometimes people see me out in the community and they say, well, what does a superintendent actually do, right? And so I'm going to give you that question as a regional superintendent. So tell the the audience a little bit about your job and some of your responsibilities.
It's the same thing. I get asked that all the time too, and I usually start out by saying there's no 30-second elevator pitch as to what my role is. Mm-hmm. And if you were to ask me, I got to be a sitting superintendent like you were for several years, and that was a lot easier to describe because as a regional office, we do so many things behind the scenes to support our schools and keep them running that mm-hmm. nobody is aware of.
Right.
But then we have a lot of student-facing work that we do too out of our regional office. So, the behind-the-scene things, it's, for the majority of our public schools and private schools, anybody that is going to be near a kid, we fingerprint them. So it is a full-time job of somebody that is volunteers, staff, coaches, contractors. We do fingerprinting, we do the bus mm-hmm. driver training, we do student work permits.
Right.
We help our teachers and paraprofessionals get licensed initially in all of their renewals. Mm-hmm. And that's a part of helping keep the schools going. The compliance side is, we inspect every single building every single year. It's anytime a school needs a building permit, they do mm-hmm. that through our office.
Yeah.
So we do that work, but then we do the support to help our schools strategically and school improvement work and professional development with administrators and with teachers. Either one-off workshops or coming in and leading an entire school improvement day or providing coaching mm-hmm. That is, so more school focused.
Right.
And then we have our student focused work that we do with
mm-hmm.
a team of folks that are attendance interventionists and school support interventionists. Just today, they're having their end of the year celebration, and that team alone worked with over 2,000 at-risk kids this year on their cases. And then we have the Alternative School Summit Academy, which is mm-hmm. on any given day, 300 at-risk middle school and high school students. And I think they had over between 550 and 600 individual students, go through their doors this year too. So we do a lot of what a public school does. We have mm-hmm. teachers, we have paraprofessionals, and we have students. And then we do a lot of the clerical behind the scenes administrative work to help support the districts.
So a lot of the behind the scenes things that people don't really see, but they're important nonetheless, right? And so when you mentioned Summit Academy, I like to lean into that a little bit because that was the old H9 building, and so there's a lot of people in the community that remembers it as H9, and we love it. But I love that you all found a use for it, and it's really valuable for not only our kids in our area, but kids in surrounding districts as well. And so can you talk to the audience a little bit about the great things that are happening at Summit Academy, the old H9 building?
Man, Summit Academy we just finished year 6 of it being Summit Academy.
Okay. Yeah.
And it feels like every year we're on version 6.0
mm-hmm.
of what the Academy is, because every year we evolve, and I think in our practices and in how we support our students and our staff, and it just seems to get better and better and better. But every kid comes there for a different reason, but the underlying, some of them might get referred because they're credit deficient. Some are referred for major behavior, minor behavior. But at the end of the day, what we've seen is every student that comes to us there are underlying factors that are root causes into what is manifesting as the behavior that is not helping them be the best version of themselves in their public school.
Right.
And, we have a trauma-informed practice. It's a leveled system. We invest a lot of time on the front end of a student's start at Summit Academy and really rebuilding them as a human first, mm-hmm. and seeing them as a young man or a young woman first.
Right.
And how do we meet those needs of their heart and their social emotional needs first, because they're not going to be in a spot to learn. Mm-hmm. And so what are the great things that are happening there? on the back end with the high school students, we're seeing a lot of high school credits get earned.
Yeah.
Every single day, and the method that we use for that, we see a lot of students graduate. The last couple of years, we've helped well over 50 kids a year graduate. More than half of those every year are Harlem High School students.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's when we look at the data of Harlem, and we've seen the last few years your graduation rate, how it's gone up. We're really proud of that too, because of your partnership with the regional office, your partnership with Summit Academy. And I know we shared this at a board meeting, Dr. Yarborough, but you're seeing behaviors go down as a district. You're seeing attendance go up. You're seeing graduation rates increase. You're seeing student engagement better. And we've been able to play a part in that journey that you as a district have had.
Yeah.
And your leadership and your cabinet and the board really wanting to partner with us has made an impact in the kids in this community. So I couldn't be prouder that we're at H9.
Yeah, no.
And I think back to 8 years ago. It was when we had heard you were closing it 8 or 9 years ago.
Right.
And we had the vision for a Summit Academy and brought it up, and no, we don't want you there.
Yeah. Wow.
But then continued to share the vision and share the vision and share the vision. And I can't imagine not being there now. I think everything that the community was maybe concerned about it has not been an issue.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's a safe place. It's a welcoming place. Kids feel loved every day.
And
couldn't say enough about it.
Yeah. And thank you for all of that. Because that's what I've seen as well. And, I attended your recent graduation, Summit Academy graduation, and to see not only our students in the area be given a second chance, right? And finding a home and a place where they felt, a sense of belonging. But I looked around at staff members as well, that were either former Harlem students or Harlem employees and doing really well. And that in and of itself for me is why we do what we do. And so, yeah.
What was your favorite part of graduation?
My favorite part of graduation was the hype video.
Okay.
I love the hype video because what it showed me and showed the audience, I would imagine as well in the crowd, that of just that excitement of, at one point, I believe in some of the students, career journey, they didn't think they were going to get to that point, but you can clearly see it in the hype video that they were there and they were excited about it. I also too liked when you gave opportunity for the students to stand up and go thank who helped them along the way. I thought that was a powerful moment, as well. And so I enjoy, visiting, not only Summit Academy, but just seeing the end result, of everything. Yeah. And so it's just it's a cool thing. It's a cool thing. So hopefully individuals, if you want to go and kind of see what's going on at Summit Academy, to reach out to Scott Bloomquist, and maybe he'll let you, come and visit or something like that.
Would love to show people the work we do.
So that's cool. And so getting back to you, because I want to love all the work that you've been doing. People don't get to see a lot of what you do and how important you are to our community, because obviously you live in the Harlem community. Your son attends Harlem, high school. I won't say his name, but your son attends Harlem High School, and so you're invested, right? So it's not just you're the regional superintendent in the area. I mean, you're invested in Harlem and what we do, and I'm so proud of that. And so, what was your journey like? You mentioned you were a sitting sup at one point, but what was your journey to being a regional superintendent for those that are out there that may want to do this? And the reason why I asked you that question is I was at the middle school this morning, for something, and a student saw me in the hallway as I was leaving and stopped me and said, "Are you Dr. Yarborough?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Man, I've been wanting to meet you because I want to do what you do." And just for him to say that, I'm like, okay, we got to talk and set that up. But on the outside looking, I would never think that students even pay attention to that. And so, what was your journey to be if someone's like, "I want to be a regional sup"?
Boy, that's a longer answer than what does a regional office of education do? My resume is an interesting one, and I remember it wasn't until I became a superintendent that my father said, "Okay, now I get it." And he looked at my journey that made no sense to him. Mm-hmm. He was 50 years in the same job.
Okay.
2 companies, same job.
Right.
And didn't understand. It's like, you worked here, worked there, you moved from this city to this city to that state to this state.
Right.
So the commonality of my entire career, I have always worked with at-risk students that nobody wanted to.
Okay.
Or that nobody believed in or saw a future in. So it started in second semester, my senior year of college. I was a psych major, and I got hired by a nonprofit to work in a juvenile detention center, and I ran small group therapy sessions for kids that were locked up 23 hours a day in a very large city.
Wow.
And in the other part of my job is I ran small group counseling for kids that were in a halfway house. They were in between incarceration or in between foster care.
Okay.
And that job ultimately led to move to a different state and to do similar work. And my wife and I moved from Minnesota to Florida. We were there a month, and the organization that hired me said they didn't have any money to pay me.
Huh.
So
Wow.
in moving there, I knew I wanted to still work with high school youth. So I started volunteer coaching football at a large high school. And that led to then I started substitute teaching because I needed a job. And then second semester of our first year living in Florida, the principal was like, man, you're really, really good with kids, and especially the ones that others have trouble reaching. Mm-hmm. We have a full-time sub opening in PE for second semester. And I was like, hook me up.
Right.
You mean I get to wear shorts and T-shirts to Florida schools every day, ride my bike to work, and I get to teach weightlifting? Sign me up.
Sign you up, yeah.
And then that opened a door. She said, they have an alternative certification program in Florida, and with the degree that you have, I'd love to hire you to work with self-contained special ed with students that have behavior problems. And I was like, sign me up. That's exactly what I was made to do.
Gotcha.
So that's how I got into education as a second career.
Yeah. Wow.
And that then, after a few years of teaching, led to, from the encouragement of the administrators, to really consider more leadership. And, then it was that pathway of, getting to the master's degree. But, I ended up moving back to Illinois once we had kids, and was the dean of students, assistant principal, athletic director. I mean, just kind of the whole gamut. I kind of forget when I lived in Minnesota and was doing the other job. My first job in education, truly, I had really weird hours working in the halfway house in the prison.
Okay. And
to make extra money, I became a bus driver. So it kind of fit in with my schedule. So I drove a school bus for a semester before we moved to Florida.
Wow. See, I'm learning something about you.
So, yeah, I've been a school bus driver, volunteer coach, substitute teacher, principal in a small district, meaning I got to be a custodian from time to time, and cleaned up my share of student puke. And so I've kind of done a lot, but the common thread of all of it, of my entire career, has been, let's make an impact in kids, and give them hope.
Yeah. And that's what, as you were talking, that's what I was hearing. Is like, if you want to go into, you follow a path similar to yours and get into leadership and things of that nature, you gotta love kids. You gotta love what you do, and what you're doing, and you can't be afraid of dabbling in this or that in the meantime, between time. And so that's awesome, right? Now I'm gonna have a little fun, with this, because this is the last episode. Right?
Okay.
And I don't know who's going to see it, who may know you, but we're gonna start with this. Who's your favorite person? And I'm not going to say Harlem, because that would be too easy, but who's your favorite person in McChesney Loves Park? Because you got a wide umbrella here.
Well, I live in McChesney Park, so I'd have to say my wife.
Oh,
that was too easy.
That was too easy. I thought, all right. So
and there's a good chance she'll watch this. So
okay, all right.
And my 4 kids would be a close second.
So I see you know how to play the game too a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a little political piece there, so that was good. So I didn't throw you off there. So as far as superintendents, because you work with, obviously all the area superintendents, who's your favorite superintendent to work with?
I would say my favorite superintendents to work with are those that are committed to do what's best for kids, not interested.
Oh, Oh man.
And
Wow.
Dr. Yarborough, you are definitely in the committed column.
I love it. I love it. Well, I appreciate that. I tried to trip you up a little bit, but that did not work. But I appreciate you being on. Last question, for you, it's not really a question, but more of a maybe a statement, from you. When you think of public education today, right, and the things that, obviously since COVID, a lot
Yeah.
has been placed on our teachers and administrators and community members and boards to really like right the ship, so to speak, right? That recovery loss was huge, in the time that that we were doing learning, online learning and things like that nature. But now that we are past that a little bit, right? What excites you about just public education and the possibilities, that we have now, getting past, COVID and things of that nature?
I think what excites me the most is the level of engagement that's happening
Okay.
of the stakeholder groups in general.
Okay.
Even when from the outside looking in, boardrooms are filled up with the community that is really passionate about something.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time in your career where they wouldn't have been filled up even for those situations.
Gotcha.
And parents are engaged more than I've seen. Students are more engaged. Our teachers are engaged. And I think that's been my experience the last few years too, coming out of COVID, is a greater passion to meet kids where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
I think COVID, while there's so many negatives that happened during that time, generally speaking, there's a different hunger that I see in our education community of status quo isn't good enough anymore.
Okay.
And that we have got to continually be progressing to see that I got 25 kids in my classroom and I truly need to engage with every single one of them individually.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing kids as individuals that have different backgrounds, different experiences, different capabilities, different abilities, and potentially different pathways. And there's more of a flexibility of an understanding of, we're not going to try to just make every kid go through the assembly line of traditional school.
Okay.
And I think that's exciting. And it's why you're seeing, you built the CTE building. It's why Rockford built the quad.
Mm-hmm.
I was on Workforce Connection call today, and we're and hearing from our local CNC and their version of it in Stevenson County, that the number of students going down those pathways is like all-time highs.
Yeah.
And I think that's a direct result of adults meeting kids where they're at, and
Mm-hmm.
there's so many options and so many opportunities for kids, and education often is way behind where society is going, and technology or needs, like we tend to be behind, but I feel like we're almost right there with, even in the age of AI. AI is a relatively new thing, and reading even today about a Fortune probably 100 company that got rid of 20% of their staff, but they're exploding because they're hiring different types of staff because of what AI can do.
Gotcha.
When you all had the vision for the CTE building, AI didn't exist.
Right.
I mean, that's just a few years ago.
Yeah. Right.
But we proactively saw a need as a region in our community of, we need more kids trained in skilled trades, in labor jobs, in medical,
Mm-hmm.
in things that, all of those things that our districts and our region collaboratively as schools and CNC started being laser focused on industry certifications, all of that work. Who knew then where we would be at now? And it's like, we're actually as a region ahead of the game.
Right.
And
Yeah.
preparing kids for jobs that aren't going to go away. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a long answer of what I'm excited about in education, and specifically in our region right now. And,
Right.
when I get to go to meetings monthly of folks that have my job around the state,
Mm-hmm.
man, what we're doing in this region that I get to be part of, we're leading the state.
Right.
And we got the data to prove it. That isn't just because I'm proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm excited about.
But I'm glad you went down that road with it, because, so more often than not, I hear about, all the good things that are happening, downstate or in, the suburbs or things like that. But what you just explained is we got things going on here that we can be just as proud of, which is awesome. So our kids, our staff, our students, our community, be proud of that because we're second to none, in my opinion. I'm biased, but second to none.
We are. The biggest downfall of education as a whole is we don't tell our stories good enough.
There you go. Yep.
We don't tell them. We let other people tell the story for us. And the work that's happening in our 2 counties, it's incredible what we're doing for kids.
There we go.
We just got to tell our story more.
So we'll do that better. But thank you for being on. I'm going to give you 3 seconds to think about it, and I'm going to go 3, 2, 1. Your favorite summer tradition. 3, 2, 1.
Eating.
On that note, mine is as well. That's why, that's why I got to lose a little weight. But ice cream, I just can't say no to. But thank you, Mr. Bloomquist, for being on today. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, sir.
All right. So with that being said, again, this was the final episode of this year. We love that you tune in, that you're engaged, that you appreciate the subject matter that appears on the podcast. If you have any suggestions for next year, reach out to us. There's a way to find that out on the website, and we'll resend that out as well for if there's some other stories that you would like to hear. But that's a close for the podcast for this year. This is year 5, so we're moving into year 6. Cannot believe it. But again, have a safe, happy summer. I am Harlem. You are Harlem. We are Harlem. Take care, everyone.